Hi there. Welcome to another video from You're More Than Their Mother. Today we are talking about the power of choice. All right, stick around. This is going to be a good one. As usual, before I get started with anything, I am going to take a deep breath and anchor myself in my intention of good. And then I will go on and formally introduce myself and we'll jump right into topic, okay? Let's go. Hi, my name is Sherlyn Dorsey, and I am creator and founder of You're More Than Their Mother, and I teach moms and women to reclaim, realign, and rebalance their lives and to go after their dreams. Thank you again for being here today. As mentioned earlier, we are going to talk about the power of choice. The power of choice. Now, as some of you may already know, I am an author. I have multiple businesses it is that I run. You're More Than Their Mother being a business of the heart. And this is the very first business it is that I ran after I moved to Texas because I've run many businesses over my lifetime. But You're More Than Their Mother, not only is it a business of my heart where I do speaking engagements, I create videos like this for you all. I have a page where I share motivational content, from exercise to lifestyle to quite literally just jumping on with tidbits of information and things to help you move yourself forward in your life. I am also an author. This is my first book, and you hear me saying my first book because I have every intention on writing another one. But this is my first book, and in this, I actually have a chapter on having a choice. It is actually I should have looked at that, but it is actually at chapter 2, and it's called You Always Have a Choice. Um, I found that this was something important and needed to really be dissected in this book because what I've learned over my journey in as a woman, number one, but also as a mom, is that sometimes we lose ourselves, right? Not only do we lose ourselves to what it is that the world says it is that we should be, right? We lose ourselves to motherhood, right? And we kind of are deep diving. We're doing everything it is that we can for our children who we know and love, which is a good thing. But there is a balance that comes with that, right? And sometimes we just kind of forget about it. We lose it, as I mentioned earlier. But we also, when we do that, when we forget ourselves or lose ourselves, we forget that we have a choice in everything it is that we're doing. We forget the fact that we don't have to do anything we don't want to do. And if we don't, and it is incumbent upon us to get clear on why we want to do something so that when we do make our move and put our efforts towards doing it, we are doing it for the greater good of all parties involved, not only because we're obligated to do it. Now let's just take a minute and breathe into that, right? And let's talk about that a little bit more. Oftentimes, as moms, as women, society tells us who it is that we need to be. I personally believe, to kind of even dial that back a little bit further, I personally believe that we all came here with some personality traits in us already, some that are custom to us, right? And I also believe, of course, we carry the genetics, right, which have memory of our parents, right? We also, I believe, internalize the environment in which we were gestated in. So if you were gestated in a loving environment, then I think we internalize some of that, and I believe it goes into our DNA. I believe if you were gestated in a toxic environment, I believe we internalize some of that, and it goes into the makeup of who it is that we are, right, as young children. But I think that we come out and we have all of those things that are kind of interplaying with one another, right? And that equals our personality. from baby to toddler, etc. But the longer we are in the material world, the more we take on the um, the more we take on the advisement, consciously or subconsciously, of others. And we start to kind of forget who we are um, as we get older, right? And we start to lose or we start to believe what other people tell us outside of what it is that we know in ourselves. Let's talk about, let me give you an example of that. Let's kind of uncomplicate that, if you will. I remember when I was a young girl, I used to be um, really outspoken. Can you tell, right? Can you tell? I used to be really outspoken, and I was very opinionated, and I had a lot of courage. I really wasn't afraid to speak my mind or to speak up. I was fully backed by wonderful, supportive parents. I had fantastic siblings that I loved, and I'm the baby of the family, and they protected and loved me like you would imagine people do, the baby of the family that's spoiled, etc. I had all of that love, so I knew that the world didn't have anything that could hold up against the love it is that I had of my parents and the support of my family, right? My nuclear and extended, right? So I had a lot of courage. When something wasn't right, I would speak up. When I wanted something, I would ask on my behalf. I would advocate for myself. I would. I just really wasn't afraid, and even with adults. Now, of course, I had to maintain a level of respect that my parents established with adults, but it was okay for me to question them respectfully. And that's relative. I don't even want to get into that. So, whatever that means to you, but it was okay for me to say, well, why did that happen? I would like to call my mom or I would like to call my dad because I don't understand or I don't feel comfortable or I don't think this is right, or my mom and daddy said, or my daddy said, whatever that looks like, right? I was okay with saying that. But as I grew up, what I learned is that the world didn't embrace a woman's voice like my household did. And for a while, when I got into the world, right, and lived outside of my parents' home, I was like, oh, well, you can't hush me. My mom and daddy let me speak up for myself. Who are you? But if you stay, as you stay in the world long enough, many times, and not everyone, but I was one of them, excuse me, I was one of them. I always say I lost my voice because I began to buy into and believe what the world said because it impacted how quickly it was that I moved up in positions when I was working in corporate. It also impacted how it is that I was perceived when I walked in certain rooms. Now, the world is changing a lot in 2024 when this video was made, or the world has changed a lot in 2024 when this video was made since 1993 when I first went into my first corporate setting or my first real job, if you will. I'm sorry, I said 93. I mean 1998. 1993, I was graduating high school. So 1998, I graduated undergrad and I got my first real job. I was a director of a program. And first of all, you have these things that are kind of playing against you. One, being young, and number two, being a woman, and number three, being a black woman. These are things that people not all the time respect. And when you aren't standing in your power, you don't demand that respect. When you have any type of waiver, people take advantage of that, right? And so I heard many enough times that, well, who do you think you are? Or, no, not right now, Miss Jones, right? Which is my maiden name. Not right now. We don't really want to hear that. And so what happened is I took that on or I internalized that as if my voice, to me, that my voice wasn't valued. So the next time something came up, I wasn't as quick to speak up, right? I wasn't as quick to make a point. I wasn't as quick to volunteer my opinion about something simply because I bought into the lie that my voice was not valued, right? And I truly believe that value is personal. I don't care what's going on in the workplace. You establish the value of your voice, and everything else has to follow. And that includes you out the door. if that is not a place where you are being valued in that way, right? Um, and that's career, relationship. This is what I believe. That being said, I think that what happens from there, and perhaps some of you all can resonate with this, right? And how life has kind of told you what you weren't or what you are. And it didn't fit who you knew internally you were. But it was easier to go along, to get along, than to push against what was being forced upon you, right? To what, I don't even want to say force. It was easier to go along, to get along with what was popular or the status quo versus carving out your own path. And when we do that, we lose things along the way. Not forever, but we lose things, not only like our power, right, in general, but more specifically, we forget we have a choice. And we feel like we are relegated to certain things. So much so that it shows up in your life when it comes down to a relationship. Did you know that you can literally be in a romantic relationship that no longer serves you, right? For whatever reason, and it doesn't have to be tumultuous, right? Everything doesn't have to be traumatic or chaotic, but you have a feeling that you know that this thing is no longer working out for you. And because you've lost your voice, because you've lost your power, and this has been a dripping, right? This isn't just one day it's gone. This has been over a time period. And more you begin to reduce yourself in moving forward and advocating for yourself in a way that you know is best for yourself. And these things will come up in your relationship that lets you know, I don't want to be here anymore. And I need to move on with my life. And let it be known and communicate that to all parties involved. And we each go on our merry way. But instead, you say things like, if they don't want me, they need to let me know. Right? And I mean, with the head bob and everything, right? But you will find yourself saying things like, if they don't want me, they need to let me go. When in reality, that's not their decision to make. If you're saying that, you probably know that that person don't want you, or those people, right? Don't want you. But you're sticking around because you are separate from your power that is yours by the merit of your existence, right? You've lost yourself, in other words, and you've relinquished that power and over to someone else. And so you end up in situations of discomfort, of dis-ease, right? And I am here to remind you that you always have a choice. That's going to come with you rebuilding your confidence and remembering who it is that you are, that you can trust yourself with yourself, that you know the answer for you, and that even if it turns out that that's not the best thing for the next moment, that you get to atone and move on, and you don't have to hold yourself hostage and don't allow anyone else to hold you hostage to a decision that you made earlier. You get to apologize and just take the wisdom from it and make a different decision going forward. You get to do that. You get to do that. So I want you to remember that you are always at choice. But those are the nuances around understanding and remembering that you are always at choice. Remember your power. Remember to trust yourself with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. You deserve your own attention. You deserve your own grace while still holding yourself accountable. You are capable of holding two ideas at once. You are capable of holding multiple ideas at once. You get to execute on the one that is the best for the situation that you're in. One or ones, right? All right. That's it. That's it for today. This is your friendly reminder that you are always at choice. I want you to always exercise your choice. I want you to ask yourself a question, really, right now, after watching this video. Um, I want you to take a moment and number one, take a deep breath and anchor yourself in your intention of good for yourself when asking this question. But I want you to, after you do that, I want you to ask yourself, am I exercising my freedom of choice? Am I exercising my freedom of choice? And your answer to that will be the segue into the next line of questions it is that you ask yourself. Because, quite factually, if the answer truthfully, right? And I want you to give yourself the hard truth. You can handle it. You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. You can do more than you believe about yourself. You absolutely can. And this is where you start by proving it to yourself over and over again by doing small things like this. It all matters. If that answer is no, I'm not giving myself permission, I want you to start to ask yourself a simple question from there. Why? Because remember, we are being radically honest with ourselves. So you are going to tell yourself the truth as to why you are not doing it. Is it because you're afraid? Is it because you don't have a plan? Is it because you don't have the means? Is it because you don't know what to do next? Right? Whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. And once you tell yourself that truth, you can then set one small thing to do to eradicate it or to shift it, right? To move you towards what you ultimately want to do, which may not be able to be changed in an instant. It may take some time, but you have the endurance to get through it. You have the genius to figure it out. You know what's best for you. You are always, always, always at choice. Remember that. All right, you all. That is it. That is it for that. I hope that that was helpful. I hope that it resonated with you in some way. Send this to a friend because if it resonates with you, I know for sure it's going to resonate with someone else, someone that you know. Um, and I think that they'll be able to glean from it as well. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe here to the YouTube channel if you can, and if you are so inclined, better stated, do leave me some feedback. What did you think of this? What do we need to talk about more with this? Do we need to take a deeper dive into being at choice? How is this showing up in your life? Did this help you? Why was it helpful? I am absolutely eager to hear your feedback. And if you want to know more about what it is that I said more specifically about always being at choice, I'd like for you to pick up my book. Just drop book in the comments and I will absolutely drop you the link and get that mailed out to you upon payment for the book. The book is $20. So if you are interested in it, do let me know. I am for sure. I keep saying absolutely. Let me change that. I am certainly going to sign the book for you and get that sent out to you right away. All right. Okay. I think that's it. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time. But until we see each other again, remember, it's time to move beyond everyone else's expectations of who you ought to be and become the person that you thought that you could be. Bye.